Hello, Captains. This is Kent again, and welcome to the Flight Show. So today I am doing a... How do I call this? As the title suggests, this is what Prepar3D V5 can be. And the reason I've done this is there are quite a few videos out there showing you what Prepar3D V5 can do, like a review on it. Nothing loaded, no third-party software, nothing like that. Here it is, bare bones. But then I noticed on my channel there have been this debate of, well, I'm going to wait for this, or I'm with X-Plane and I want to stick with this, or I'm not sure what to buy, and maybe I'm going to wait for 2020 for Microsoft. And so, which I can completely understand. So this video really isn't here to win you over if you're an X-Plane person, or get you off the, hey, don't worry about Microsoft, buy this. This is more, I'm going to show you what the potential of Prepar3D V5 has. Because I have a lot of third-party software that really built up in Prepar3D 4, and either they released a Prepar3D V5 version of it, or I just ported it directly over from Prepar3D 4, and it works well with Prepar3D 5. So this is kind of like Prepar3D 5 with all the bells and whistles. Now, I think it's relevant to understand before we take off, what are my settings? Because based on what my system is, which you can see down in the show notes comments section, or really the show notes, comments is what you leave, you can see what my setup is, but here are my settings to get the look that I have. Okay, very quickly, and you can pause this if you want to take a look at it. I use, for AA, I have 8 times MSAA, VSync with unlimited. Some suggest having it lower, but I tend to get stutters. This has given me my smoothest performance. And I have triple buffering enabled. This is one of the most important things that's right here. Wide aspect ratio, because I have 3 monitors that are showing. You just see the middle one that's being recorded. And the bitmap VC panels. Over here, now, many times it's suggested not to turn on FXAA, but I turned it on to experiment, and it works. Forgive me, I need to read up to tell you exactly what it does, but for now, so I have my resolution, but for now, let's just say that it's on. I have ultra resolution, my aniscopic, I can pronounce this until I need to say it to you. Anisotropic 16 times. I already covered that. And dynamic streaming. Actually, I tend to leave that off. No. I have it on. I was thinking of something else. Alright, in the world. This is the next thing that's important, because how much you load into the system is going to affect frame rates. So basically, you can see I have ultra for tensillation factor and the level of detail. Mesh resolution 1 meter, texture resolution 15 centimeters. Water, have it cranked all the way up. Some people don't care about water. I do. I like it. As long as I have good frame rates, I will narrow it down if it affects my frame rates, but Prepar3D V5 is making this possible. Special effects, high. I've never really noticed the difference between the two, but if they're there, I want them. Scenery complexity, very dense. Auto-gen scenery draw distance, high. Unless you're really straining to see beyond the terrain that gets loaded, the auto-gen that gets loaded, you won't even notice. Auto-gen vegetation density, very high and extremely dense on the buildings, because I really want to feel like I'm part of a vibrant world. But you can judge for yourself on the frame rates when we record. And I have the new clouds. I really like the beta version, so I'm rolling with these, and I have God rays. Lighting, I just have the dynamic lighting, and here are my shadow settings. Shadow quality, high. I may crank them all the way up, but the draw distance, medium. Okay. So, let's get in the air. Now, I'll be telling you some of the things that I have loaded. I'll start off with, for traffic, I have Ultimate Traffic Live. I did try Global, never got it to work. Ever. I tried to give it a chance. It never worked. I'm done. Using Global Traffic Live and Global Traffic Live sounds. So right here, this airport, Oh, by the way, I'm going to load up my electronic flight bag over here on the side by Avlasoft. And so this airport is on Santos, Antonio Santos, I believe it is, in Rio De Janeiro, which is where I'm starting this flight, because I want to show you what a lot of deeply populated urban areas look like when I talk about autogen scenery. And we're going to look at a few places around the world. All right, I think we've covered enough here. Let's get in the air and we'll talk while we're flying. So when we also talk about software, I'm using the tracker software. Well, that's software and hardware, because you need a tracker headset and all that, but I'm using it. What the heck just happened? There we go. Alright. Gear up. Oh, look. A little private jet. Nice. Flaps up. Take a look over there. Flaps are up. Okay. Pull back on the throttle a little bit because this thing kicks on power. Now, take a look at that. As you can see, this is a heavily populated autogen scenery. Now, I'm using Tropicalsim's Rio De Janeiro. There's a newer version out, I forget the company, and I've been tempted to buy it, but, you know, especially with the release of Prepar3D V5, when it is this dense, do I need to? I wonder. I really have been struggling with, okay, what are the bells and whistles that would suggest I need to buy it, because I will, but for now, I'm good. Now, another thing that I will point out that I'm using is Orbx FS Global buildings. Now, you can kind of tell the difference between the FS buildings and the buildings that came with Tropicalsim, because the Tropicalsim, there's like a dividing line in the way the buildings look, and when I fly over it, you'll see. But for now, let's just trim up so that we can fly at a level altitude. I could put on the autopilot to do it, but I try to trim just to get practice in on. Now, over here, let's see. Okay, got the trim going. Hold on a second. I want to make sure that my what do you call? Oh, that needs to load. Jiminy Crickets. Never mind that. It's just It's just downloading the new build or whatever, a software update. In the meantime, I'll talk about over here is forgive me, but it's another Tropicalsim airport, Payware. It'll come to me in a moment. I know everybody in South America is, come on, man, get a clue. We know this airport. It's like larger than the one we took off from. And it's showing its age in terms of how many years it's been since. I think this is a 2018 version. But it looks a whole lot better than the stock airport. So I can still run it and feel good about it. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Get out of the way. I'm literally installing this in front of you guys. Sorry. Okay, so anyway, let me get this started. There we go. I have no idea why my thing is doing that. Alright, so as you look over here, you can see, even from this distance, better than stock. So I have quite a few third-party airports that, you know, came out before. Some are actually Prepar3D, and I still ported them in. They seem to work pretty well. Some are a little more problematic, so I don't have them all in there. Now, here's what I was talking about. Okay, so this region is what I believe is the Tropicalsim software and its autogen buildings, because buildings doesn't put over third-party software's buildings. But this is what I believe is HD Buildings by Orbx. You see the difference, but it still looks heavily populated, but the buildings looks more populated. And what I see that Tropicalsim, what they did is they put photogen kind of like discolorations that are pictures of buildings tops, and then speckled autogen buildings in it, so it looks densely packed. But with inspection, you can kind of see the voids. whereas the HD buildings, very densely populated. Now they do the same thing. They have some photos on the ground, but as you can see, it looks like there are just millions of people there. I mean, Rio de Janeiro is a highly populated city. It's got millions in it. So this would be indicative of a densely populated town. And I'll also point out that if you saw my review prior to this, I am also running HD trees in conjunction with TerraFlora version 2. And so you can see the trees on the mountainsides. All of that is working together to create this very, very rich scenery for this cityscape. All right, so now I would spend more time here, but I'm not doing a sightseeing tour so much of Rio de Janeiro, as I want you to really see the potential of what Prepar3D can be when you have all these things loaded. Now, I'll say right now, here's some of the things that I have loaded. I have in this region, I have South America Land Class by Orbx. I have Orbx Global, which is the entire planet, obviously. Here's Tropicalsim's Rio de Janeiro. I have HD buildings. I'm also using, even shade and even text for shaders, so that's going on right now. Weather, I just have it on fair weather, but I can change weather conditions and might, depending on where we're flying, to show you, because there's another program that I use, which is FS Control, and I use FS Control basically to change weather immediately if I just want a weather setting, or to port me to airports for approaches. Okay, now look across the bay. Look at all that, millions of people over there. I mean, very rich. So no, I will say that AutoGen scenery, just fresh out of the box, no third-party software. I give it to X-Plane, and now it being X-Plane Vulkan. I give it that. But if you're willing to invest some software, and here's the beautiful thing: if you've already invested software in Prepar3D, either the companies that you have that do scenery, either they are releasing free updates for their software, updates that are like, more modified, and they're giving you it at a very discounted price, or just port them over directly. Now I will say some of those softwares are problematic, some are not. So you have to do it with caution and be prepared for troubleshooting. Right now I'm trying to troubleshoot Orlando International. But ultimately, I get it figured out. And you can always search the internet, because there may be people that have similar problems. But I'll leave it at that for now. Okay, so now I'm going to take you to another densely populated city. Just hold on just a second. Okay, I gather you don't know where I am. Well, I'll tell you, or even better, I'll show you. Many would be familiar with this skyline. Right now we are flying over Chicago, Illinois. So here we are looking at Drzewiecki's Chicago X, and that is like probably one of the most densely populated city scenes out there, only to be more densely populated, or should I say, only to be beaten in densely population in software by New York X, because I'm still in awe with the amount of buildings they put on in that simulation, in that particular third-party software. And so, as you can see, incredibly populated in terms of AutoGen buildings. Not so much on the trees, but of course this is the inner city, but the trees are done well to basically emulate what a city would look like, with trees in it. And so as you can see, looking out of the window over here, you've got train cars over there in the train yard, tons of neighborhood buildings. Now, when I was talking about how far the region is loaded, okay, so you can tell that the building line ends there, And if you search for it, yeah, it's there. But that's a lot. And so I've tempted to try, it with it further. But once I had these rates, I was like, well, why ruin it? So I might experiment with that later. But for now, notice how smooth the frame rates are. And if you are into VFR flying, I'm just going to turn this over here for a second. If you are into VFR flying and you want to fly over a city and feel like you're flying over a living, breathing, densely populated city, then this is definitely something you want to have in your scenery portfolio. Now, again, you don't have to worry about land class, because what I love about Chicago is it's flat. Why do I say I love the fact that it's flat? So I like to ride my bike. Riding bikes where I live now, there are a lot of hills here. Not fun going down, not so much pedaling up. Chicago, pretty much flat. So you don't have to worry about land class, because as the software information says, when it comes to flat surfaces, flat is flat. So what does it matter? Just looking now, being a Chicagoan, I did a review on this, just pointing out, let's see how detailed it is and how much scenery they put in that's really there in Chicago. And Drzewiecki did an excellent job. Like, here's the United Center where the Bulls play. I just can't say enough of how much I love this software, this particular geographic region. And it also has a bunch of heliports around, like at hospitals, downtown. You've got Meigs Field. Now, by the way, that Meigs Field, that is not Drzewiecki. That is Orbx Meigs Field, another third-party software, and they can work together with each other. What did I just do? Okay, that was weird. But anyway, and check out, by the way, check out that water on the horizon. I have got to try this real fast. I just want to see if I bring up my menu here for time of day. Let's go a little earlier in the morning. That is so much like Chicago, early morning in Chicago. That is just beautiful.
Obstacle ahead. Obstacle ahead.
That would be buildings. Yeah, I got you. But yeah. Okay, let's go back.
Obstacle ahead. Obstacle ahead.
So, now you have this particular region. Let's go to
Obstacle
another.
ahead.
Okay, so where are we now? I guess I'll show you. Once again, another iconic city, but this time, New York, New York. Okay, so again, this is to give you an idea of what prepared can be like with the frame rates, highly detailed cities, all of the 9 yards going on. Now, I do not know what that flicker is. Still got to work some kinks out. I don't remember if I just copied this over from 4 or this. They did an Drzewiecki did a update for this. I don't remember. I have to check. Okay. So we're flying towards the city, so we'll see how it emerges as we get closer. Now, I do have New York airports as well. Over behind me. Now, that is the stock. That is the stock JFK, so I have not loaded New York airports yet. Totally forgot. That's fine. We will. And they did an update for that as well, if I'm correct. But that is just absolutely stunning. Uptown and downtown. And then you have the autogen scenery out here in the boroughs. Now, Manhattan is just insanely populated. The boroughs, I don't think they did much on that, or at least maybe they did right there immediately on the river, but not so much out in this line area. That could be global. Okay, let me lose a little altitude here. All right. But again, just absolutely stunning. If you are into VFR, you can just really go to town with the right third-party software. Now, when I talk about all the bells and whistles, as you can see, this is a clear day, but I also have FS Global Real Weather, but I'm not going to use that because the real weather might not be all that good to see. So what I'm going to use is my FS Control to bring up some weather. Let's see here. Conditions. Weather themes. And let's choose fair. Much better. And so, what can one say? I mean, you just kind of have to look at it and go, okay, if Prepared has improved its frame rates and optimized it for, you know, getting its video up to better frames per second, this might be worth it because it looks phenomenal. Now you may hear the wind. Now that is inherent to A2A in this particular airplane, the Comanche. So you can hear the wind effects just outside the window. But just check out how densely populated in buildings that region is right there. If you want to play with the helicopters and hit all the heliports around the city, running corporate executives around, you're going to have a blast flying around New York and Chicago. Okay, let's quick pause. There we go. Alright, let's go to some other place to get an idea of what all the bells and whistles can get you. Okay, any idea where we are? No? This is Mount St. Helens in Washington State, United States. This is a famous volcano for, you know, my generation of Americans, because when I was younger, this volcano erupted. One of the few major eruptions in, you know, modern times of the United States, and killed several people that were on the mountain or in the park at that particular time. A few scientists, a guy who forgot his name, but he lived on Lake Placid and was like, is it Lake Placid or Crystal Lake? It's one or the other. Because I know I confuse that with like movies. But he said, I lived here all my life, I'm not going anywhere. Oh, well, yeah, they've never found his body. But I thought this was an opportunity to see, here is, you know, ultimate, global ultimate mesh in full effect. I'm going to turn off the tracker for just a second. Photorealistic scenery on the mountain, elevations, you know, I think it's within a meter. Now in the distance you can see the you know, HD trees and TerraFlora trees working together, and then you're going to see how accurately portrayed Mount St. Helens actually is as we fly over it. I mean, this is just stunning. Is it as good as being there? Of course not, but I will tell you, it is. If you don't get, thank you. Literally shook my head and it went back. You know what? If I didn't know better, I think I placed my plane around the wrong mountain. Now, wait a minute, because I don't think that's it over there. Because this doesn't look right. I know I'm in the vicinity of Mount St. Helens. Oh, that is so hilarious. But I mean, since we're here, or is this it? We'll see. No, I don't know. This is not it. Because there should be a partially caved-in mountain with a secondary crater or secondary volcanic peak inside of it, and that's not it. But I have to admit, for being around the wrong mountain, that is beautiful. And the vast expanse, just stunning. So I'm going to take a quick geography lesson and get us to the right Mount St. Helens. This is a nearby peak. I really thought I had that right, but it's okay. We're going to get it going. Hold on. Be right back. So this is not Mount St. Helens either, but I wanted you to see it because this is really, really nice. This is, I tell you, the law of unintended consequences. This is just a really good opportunity to see what FS Global Mesh offers in terms of the scenery that you get from the mountain ranges. This is stunning. So the amount of details, so if you want to check out a few mountains around the world, if you didn't have land class that just already had photorealistic scenery for those, then you're also going to have the added benefit of what FS Global brings to the table. So if you have land class photorealistic sceneries of mountains and volcanoes, you got that, and then on top of that, you have the mountain ranges around the world that you can explore and get this detail, because this is awesome. Okay, so let's check out another region. Now, you didn't think I was going to let you get out of here without actually showing you Mount St. Helens, did you? Okay, I found it. Alright, so this is the Crescent Peak. And what's interesting is, notice that the mountain ahead of us, and the one I was mistakenly at, which is over there, have snow-capped mountains. But Mount St. Helens doesn't. And I think that is because it's still active. And so its geothermal temperatures are melting the snow around it. Pretty cool. But like, check out the surrounding, mountains. Look at that detail. Crazy. But okay, here's the peak that I was going to tell you about. And there is steam coming out of the vent of the secondary crest that is inside the part of the mountain that got blown away. As you can see, the mouth which collapsed in that great eruption, and there's the secondary peak. Absolutely stunning. Let's get outside the plane for a second. Check it out. I guess now you can appreciate why I wanted you to see it. And all of this blown out. And there's the lake I was telling you about. Just look at this vast expanse. This was one of the reasons I was so happy to have purchased FS Global, the newest one. Because it was a small upgrade fee from the fact that I had the Ultimate Global, 2000, I think it was 18. But, oh my gosh, look at that. Okay, so, again, all the bells and whistles. Land class, And because this is Pacific, if I'm correct, this is Pacific Northwest with Orbx, North America land class, and Ultimate Global Scenery, all working together to give you these images. Oh, don't forget HD Trees and TerraFlora 2. TerraFlora, that's right. Okay. Oh, wow, look. Never noticed that little lake inside of the mountain there before. Cool. Alright, time to check out another region. Okay, can you guess where I am? I know all of my brothers and sisters down there in Aussie land know where I am. Or if you're well traveled and you live abroad the world, we are rolling down on Sydney, Australia. Now, I am noticing that I am having an issue with these black blotch patterns. It's an Orbx thing that I think I have a fix for, and I got to get to it. So I ask you to excuse it in terms of the coloration. But as far as the dense population, that's not taking away from it, because if you can see the cityscape of Sydney, Australia, and the dense population of autogen housing and trees, this is stunning. I gotta get those little blotches out. But this is Orbx Australia 2 scenery at work. Not fully working right, but that's not Orbx's fault. I'll get it taken care of. I thought I did, but clearly I did not. And I just don't think I'm going to do it justice. I may edit this out and just get it fixed before I show it, because we want it to be at its best. Alright, so let's go to another region. Okay, so we're at our next place. Know where I am? This is Paris Orly. I believe the company that did this scenery is Jetstream. But let me tell you, I completely underestimated this company, because I really didn't know them that well. I mean, they're not like had the kind of name recognition that Orbx had, Aerosoft, or what have you. But when I bought this software and flew outside of Orly, it's amazing. Because I don't know if Paris Orly is just the airport. It might be, but whoever, I don't know if this is land class Europe, which I have. I don't know if this is, I don't think it's ultimate global ultimate mesh. I just know that this Paris scenery is densely populated. And by the way, it was densely populated before I bought high definition buildings by Orbx. But I wanted to check it out with you, because when you have all the bells and whistles, you have the mesh, so that you do have, the varying elevations. Let's see, yeah. I don't know why, but my global is not, my head tracker is not working as well as it should. Oh, it's hanging down. Let me reposition it. Sorry for the noise. Okay, this should be better. There we go. You can even see that this is not a completely flat territory. It has very, very subtle changing elevations. But look at this density of the scenery, and then appreciate the frame rates. And also remember, this is being spread over 3 screens, though you're only looking at one of them. Now, right now we're flying towards the Eiffel Tower. And I apologize if there are a couple of stutters. It turned out I needed to load this scenery, so I just loaded it. So I think that there's still little bits of data, and I loaded it while I was in game by the loading it from the library. So it's still loading subtle details, and that's where you get that pause from. But if it wasn't for that, this would be very fluid. So, you know, what do we have working in conjunction here? You have high definition building, Paris Orly scenery, land class Europe by Orbx, and ultimate HD buildings, HD trees, TerraFlora trees. There are trees around here somewhere. Yeah, they're throughout the city. And what else do we have going on? Yeah, ultimate ground pilots, ultimate ground 2020. So I think it kind of speaks for itself. You can see many of the iconic buildings in Paris, France. Right there's the Eiffel Tower. I'm so embarrassed that I forgot the name of it, but it's that big giant arch in the middle of the street. I'm embarrassed. I should know this, but it's here. I normally could find it, but I am totally lost my bearings. And if you look over there, I do not know that building right outside the window, but I do know. I know it. I don't know the name of it. So that one I didn't forget. I just don't know it. Oh, there it is. Remember what I was telling you? Look right over my dashboard. There's the arch. Now, all of this is going on. Buildings almost as far as the eye can see. And incredibly smooth frame rates. I believe that's the art gallery right there. Or is that, because, I don't even want to pretend, because I will mess all of this up. I would say Paris and Moscow are some of my least familiar favorite, not favorite so much, but famous cities. Meaning I would not know a ton of the iconic landmarks in those cities. The Kremlin, obviously, I would know that if I saw it. The monument to those who died in space exploration, don't know the name of it, but I know it. Blah, blah, blah. But that's Russia. Here, many icons. Don't necessarily recall all the names. But you get my point. When you've got all the bells and whistles, this is what Prepar3D can bring to you. Smooth frame rates. Because I flew this, but I had to crank stuff down in 4.5. I pushed it as far as I could because I like the detail, but yeah, it's not easy. One of the reasons I switched to the helicopter is just so that you could kind of peruse and appreciate some of these scenes a little better. Let's look out the window here. As I rock my hover. Okay, we're going to just quickly fly over to these buildings here. And then we might check out one or two more sites. I mean, you just look at all of this auto-gen scenery. For VFR flying, when you have all the bells and whistles going, I think Prepared 5 holds its own in this day and age. Now, I know for the people waiting for Microsoft Flight Sim, that's fine. I get it. I've seen the images. I get it. It's not here yet. That's all I gotta say. And this is not everything that Prepared 5 has to offer. There's things that have yet to be unlocked, if you will, that developers are working with right now. So we'll see. We will see. Oh, there's a nice park area. Let's fly over that and we'll get out of here. Oh, check out the roads. Very nice. Now, I don't have Vector on here because they have not released Vector for Prepared 5 just yet. So, these bridges and stuff, this is either with the scenery or stock and prepared. So, that's impressive either way. And now you get to see what TerraFlora has to offer in terms of trees inside of the cityscape. Okay, time for another region. Okay, what have I got going on here? Tokyo, Japan. Now the only thing, I do have Tokyo International Airport by Technobrain, just past that. But in terms of the city, the only thing that I have, I think, in terms of scenery is Ultimate Global by Pilots. Yeah, that's it. Oh, yes, HD Buildings by Orbx. So, and obviously Global. Orbix Global. So those three things going on, but yet the city, pretty intense. Got the docks going on here. Nice sets of bridges. Not as intense as Chicago and New York, but then bear in mind that these aren't dedicated city sceneries. But what you do have is an intense concentration of autogen buildings. Okay, I got another stop for you. Let's go. Okay. Do you recognize this? If you don't, it's okay. This is Johannesburg, Africa. Particularly Johannesburg, South Africa. And this is from the Orbx Africa Continent Land Class release. I know I've been asked by numerous people on the channel to do a review of this, and it's coming because this place is just so huge. I want to do it justice. You know, several countries could fit in the geographic area of Africa, so it's just not like I can hit a place and feel like I'm doing something. But okay, again, with all the bells and whistles, you get all the land classes that you can. Now, you might ask, do I have any of the True Earths? No. And the major reason I don't have a lot of the True Earths is because of the drive space they take up. With having prepared 4 and 5 on this drive and all of this scenery, I have a 2 terabyte hard drive, and I'm 75, maybe 80% full. So maybe if I remove some things or get a bigger drive, I'll think about maybe loading up on the True Earth series. But for now, we're just going to have to go with land class. Now, as you can see, beautiful terrain, shrubbery, open skies, but look at the densely populated town and autogen buildings. Again, if you are into VFR flying, then this is definitely the route you want to go and have this continent in your portfolio of scenery downloaded for Prepared. Okay, let's hit another geographic region. Okay, so yet another region. I guess it should be obvious. You see the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world. So we had to come down here to, I believe this is UAE, United Arab Emirates, in Dubai. And as you can see, a lot of the autogen scenery. I don't know if those are HD trees or those are the trees that come with this particular region. This is by Fly Tampa. Really nicely rendered city with Palm Island, the Burj Khalifa, some of the iconic buildings in Dubai. Now, land class doesn't, mesh doesn't really matter here because this place is pretty darn flat. And you leave the city area, that's a lot of desert. But, still yet, an excellent place to explore. You look out the window there, that's supposed to be the man-made islands that make the globe, and you can buy your own island if you got that kind of money. Even if I had that kind of money, would I buy an island? I mean, I wouldn't be out there that much. Ah, nice little park in the middle of the city. Very nice. And up a ways is Palm Island. So, with a little investment, this Prepar3D V5 can really be scenically amazing, you know. And I just got the announcement today that the beta release of Active Sky is coming, and they're going to be taking advantage of True Sky and some features of Prepar3D V5. So, as I said before, exciting time, very exciting time in flight simulation right about now. So we're going to come up here to the airstrip at in the region of Palm Island, and then we will close this little rendition out. What I noticed is also in here is kind of like the dust from being in the desert. You're gonna see kind of fly through it. Crazy. Loving it. And what I think we'll do is we'll put her down here at the airstrip where Skydive Dubai is the home of Skydive Dubai. Wow. And I know skydivers do base jumping off one of these buildings here to my left, because it's so freaking tall. I believe it's the building right to the right, with the one that has the ball. The one next to it? Yeah, a tall one. That's what I think. Okay. Here we go. Excellent. All right. We will close out with my last region. Okay. Where are we, you might ask? Orlando, Florida. Which is a pretty massive terminal. And heavens forbid you go to the wrong one, because each terminal is spread way out. But, aside from this airport really looking nice, and it wasn't even made for Prepared 4, but I'm impressed with it, which is why I loaded. What I have here is Orbx Orlando scenery. And I did a review on this, and you can look it up on the channel to see. I was flying around in a Gazelle. Didn't land too well. But I wanted to try and just zoom through here real fast in Prepared 5. And I can see frame rates so much better. And they weren't even bad in the video, but it just seems more smooth and fluid now. So you can get a map of Orlando and see if you can find points of interest on the map, which is what I did in that video. Now right now I just know that if I head in an easterly direction, this is going to take me to Disneyland. So we're going to zoom out there and just see what we have to see. And you can do this, you know, you can do it in general aviation, you can do it in fixed wing aircraft, you can do it in rotary wing. Just have fun. But when you have all, you know, all the bells and whistles, pull out all the stops. This is a program to be reckoned with. Let's see what we can do about a little weather. There we go. Just to give it a feel. Okay, I see some resorts. Looks amazing. Absolutely amazing. Now we're just passing over water parks. Yeah, this is definitely the business. I myself am just kind of taking it all in, but I think it's time to bring us to an end. Been here almost an hour, so I really want to thank you for checking this out. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I showed you the potential of Prepar3D to really be, you know, either your continued simulator, your first simulator, or your next simulator. And don't get me wrong, I have no problem with X-Plane 11. I hear Vulcan is the bomb. This is just kind of the system that I've come up with, and I have also saw DCS World. But oh my gosh, you really got to learn those aircraft without getting blown out of the sky. But I'm really satisfied with this purchase myself, and I'm looking forward to coming up with new and interesting challenges, much less continuing a pilot's life in my commercial flying, and just discovering what things and Easter eggs they have in this program. I don't know, when I say Easter eggs, I don't mean they did any that I know of, but there are a lot of things that are in here that were Easter eggs in Flight Simulator 10, like erupting volcanoes, among other things. Check out Victoria Falls. See what that looks like. Well, nevertheless, I really appreciate you tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you in the virtual skies. They have got to have a burger over here.